city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event, it's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds, a movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience, mastermind. Light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
Good morning, champions.
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing? My day is blessed even more after hearing that song again. I love that song, man.
That song is a hype song. My goodness gracious, I've got to say.
Yes, yes.
I feel like
Really
it's
put you in the mood, right?
Yeah, it's like Kofi Kingston coming down the aisle to the ring, you know?
Yes. Absolutely. That's actually a great description. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the topic today, building better tomorrows. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
After you, Lancelot.
I would say the things you do today are building what you do tomorrow. And a good example would be the event that we all went to this past Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes, it was an incredible event. Big Dan produced it, who will be with us on the 6th. But it's just the people that we met, the people that we already knew, and we continue to build these relationships with. I think about Jonathan, and I know Jonathan, he's in the CLA. I've seen him at a few events, but we got a chance to really build and spend some quality time on Thursday, which in turn helps us to build for the future. And he has a lot of things going on. He has his own podcast. He's going to be on my podcast now. And that's all a result of showing up. And you first and foremost have to be able to show up in order to build for the future. So I would think that this past event that all of us went to is a good example of what you do now in order to build for the future.
Well,
Agreed.
if I can piggyback off of that, great points, Lancelot. And yes, Jonathan is amazing. You were talking about, is it Astacio?
No, Emery.
Emery. Oh, that's right. Jonathan Emery. Oh, he was at the event we were just at.
Yes.
I
he hung out with us. He was at the meeting after the meeting.
Okay, I call him John, so that's why I was like thinking the other gentleman. But anyway, yeah, no, he's fantastic. He's a great guy, very, very humble, very soft-spoken, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like, I guess you could say, powerfully introverted. but when you get him talking, the guy is just, he's an absolute gem. He has a heart of gold and excited to be in his world and vice versa. So in terms of the topic today of building better tomorrows, I think we've heard it before that Rome isn't built overnight, right? So the better tomorrows that are being built start today, right? We have to put brick by brick every single day. We have to wake up and we have to get the next batch of bricks that are on that little trolley, on that little, what do you call that thing? Somebody who has, it's like a
Wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow. Yeah, we have to put in all the bricks in a wheelbarrow and put on the backpack with a bunch of cement in it. And then we got to go and we got to lay some bricks. And that's a daily job. It's a daily job. If you do not put the bricks on a daily basis, you'll never have the home. You'll never have the foundation.
That's right.
You'll never have the finished product. So, and you can't get fancy until you have the foundation built, right? You can't get, all like really nice with the paint job and the nice windows that you want to get and the beautiful front door. Like all of that doesn't even matter if you don't have the foundations and the bricks in place. So that is a daily job. It's required that we show up in that way, and we are very intentional with our efforts, our time, and commitments and relationships and all the things that lead to effective bricklaying, right? So it's just part of the deal.
Amen. And to add to that, I would say as we're showing up, we're continuing to work on ourselves internally, making ourselves better each and every day, so that when we show up, each time we show up, we're a better version of ourselves, which is very important.
Yeah.
Very important is to continue to build and better yourself as an individual. Who I was yesterday is not who I am tomorrow, because I'm working on being a better person. So.
Love that. Love that. Well, think about the event we went to. The New York City Experience even did business with somebody there that you introduced us to, Tom, and so he's creating a huge banner for us, a step through or step up or step.
It's called step and repeat.
See what? That's why I wanted you to say it.
Yeah.
I wanted you to repeat what I said. So
Yes, there you go.
So think about it. You go to an event and you never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to do business with, but also who can bring value to what you're trying to do, what you're trying to create, because they may help you in a way that you never imagined. They may
Yes.
make it easier to do business, because we were already looking to do some of that business, but now it made it even easier because we had a connection, an actual physical face-to-face connection with somebody that already gave us a deal, right? A really good deal compared to that if I just went up and looked it up on the online or just drove by a place. Because I actually made a connection with a person. We had a conversation, and then we got on the phone, and the next day the deal was done.
Exactly.
So it's about creating opportunities that you may never have had unless you show up to an event, unless you get in the right rooms. And I think we were in the right room the other day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to just continue on that with the New York City Experience, for those people that might be on the fence, some of the same people that were in that room are going to be in this room, and it's about showing up.
Mhm.
And it's important that we understand that sometimes you have to make those adjustments and those commitments in order to be in that room. That's first and foremost. You got to get to the room.
Mhm.
So do whatever you have to do. Save those pennies. This is not very expensive, but be there, because you'd be surprised at the people you meet and the things that you create for the future. And this is what we're talking about, building for the future. But you got to
Yeah.
be in the room in order to build for the future.
I love that we're talking about the fact that transactions happen as a result of being in the room, right? That gentleman, what's the gentleman's name that we did business with?
Tom
Tom.
Maribel. Yes, Tom Maribel.
Tom didn't go into that room knowing he was going to get new business.
Right.
Right? Nobody does. Nobody goes into the room knowing, unless you have that, like, optimistic perspective where I know something's going to happen. You just don't know what. But he didn't go in there knowing, right? He went in there with the expectation of building relationships and making connections and expecting his business to grow one way or another, whether it's immediate business, long-term play of future business, or a relationship you might build that might lead to something else, like a stage or a podcast or whatever. But he showed up understanding that the better tomorrows are not like an idea of like, could it happen, right? Is it possible that it can happen?
Mhm.
Better tomorrows aren't discovered. They are designed by how we show up today. Right. So he showed up to that event with the expectation of, hey, you know what? Like, we'll see where it goes, but I'm going to invest my financial resources to get a ticket. I'm going to invest my time and my energy to go physically show up, and I'm going to see what happens. And what happens? He walked away with new business, revenue, right? His business is growing. What happened to us? We made a great relationship that's going to be a long-term relationship that's now serving us to make the New York City experience even better. And again, it's not, people are waiting for that discovery of like, oh, I'm sure like at some point life is going to get better.
Right.
And it's going to improve. And it doesn't just happen, right? You have to make the right choices today that are going to position you to win. I always talk about positioning yourself to win. So that's exactly why, as Lancelot just said, that's exactly why people are gathering in NYC, right? People are coming to this New York City mastermind experience because they're ready to design what is next, and not what is next by yourself. You're designing what is next together with other entrepreneurs.
That's right.
You know what I love about Tom, that he never said to me, hey, I'm Tom, would you buy my product? I didn't even know that he did this business.
Right.
We were
Right.
talking, and I said, well, let's take a picture by the banner. He goes, oh, the one I built? I said, wait a minute, you did it? He never sold it. He came in the way we tell people to come to the New York City Experience.
That's right.
Come in and introduce yourself. Let people get to know who you are. Build the trust, because trust builds business, right?
Business.
Trust builds better tomorrows. Because who do you want to do business with? Somebody you trust or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the whole thing is, I am the one that said to him, wait a minute, you did this? Can you make one for us? He said, absolutely. I'll get that to you right away. And so I said, we need to exchange phone numbers. We took a selfie, as you know, we always do at the New York City Experience, right? And then what wound up happening is that I reached out to him the next day and I said, hey, do you have time? Can we talk? I'd like to move forward with what we talked about. And then so we move forward. But I love the way he showed up. I love the way I showed up. I love the way Jose showed up. I love the way Lancelot showed up, because we were there just to see and be part of the room. I didn't go there selling me. I didn't go there selling New York City Experience. People just asked me, hey, what do you got going on? I said, well, we got this incredible experience. So I already have people who said, oh, I want to be part of that. And I've already had a few phone calls with people who said, I think I'm going to bring my daughter. I'm going to bring my wife. So there are some people who are trying to figure out their schedule because they just heard about it, right? And they only heard about it because I was in the room with them. Jose was in the room with them. Lancelot was in the room with them. So when they get to know and ask, what are you up to? This is a great way for you to say, I have an event coming up, or I'm my book is coming out, whatever it is, right? Or I'm just, I love helping people, whatever it is. It's that aspect of, how do you grow? How do you build your better tomorrows if you don't share who you are
That's right.
without selling your product first?
Exactly.
Yeah, there are a lot of strategies, Sifu and Lancelot, where people can scale and grow their business. There's numerous strategies to do it, right? And just one of the strategies is showing up to live events, right? Remember, showing up to live events is not the end all be all, the only requirement to grow your business. It is just a strategy, right? Now, just like retirement, when you're going to retire and you want to have money and wealth at the end of your rope, right? What do you need to do? You need to have a diversified portfolio. Right? What does that mean? That means you need to have not all your eggs in one basket. Any wise investor will tell you that. Warren Buffett, anybody that is making money and crushing it has money in different things. IRAs, life insurance, 401ks, savings accounts, mutual funds, stocks, Bitcoin, gold and silver. I mean, you name it. You have a little bit of money stashed in all these different places, or a lot of money in a lot of different places. But because if one goes down, right, you have many others, like balloons in the air, right? Or spinning plates. Imagine you're spinning all these plates and one falls, but if one falls and you have 12 in the air, you have 11 left. But if all your eggs are in that one plate and it falls and it breaks, and you're SOL, right? And I think we all know what that means, right? So at the end of the day, this is PG-13, Lancelot, please. I'm just kidding. I guess it's okay if it's PG-13. But anyway, this is rated G, this show. So anyway,
G for what? Grown-ups?
yes. I say all that to say that when it comes to like events, like, yes, it is a strategy that I highly recommend, because getting in these rooms are going to position you to have more authority, to have more influence, to be seen and respected in the marketplace, to have people aware that you exist, right? To build the right relationships, the proximity, the power of proximity. I think we've heard that many, many times. How many times have you heard the power of proximity, right? So why do you guys think I actually even showed up to this event, the 7-figure Blueprint Syndicate? I showed up for a number of reasons, but what initially attracted me to this event, because there's events all over, right? And we can't go to all the events, otherwise we'd end up, with no money, because we're like going to everything, right? So we have to strategically go to what we can go to. And I went to this event because initially it was Dan Sikowski, Big D, right? Big D is a friend of mine. I've been building a relationship with him since I met him at the Rich Thinking Conference. Shout out to Mitzi and Renee. And that was fantastic. And that was just a month ago, give or take, right? And then from there, I've been flying close to Dan, and then he said, "Hey man, I'm having this event, you should come, this and this and this." Now, seeing where he is in business and how successful he is and all the things he's achieved and the ups and downs of his career, and to come back strong and keep fighting and to be a family man and somebody who's like a philanthropist who loves to give back and is all about bigger impact, right? I said, you know what? I got to fly close to a guy like this. And then from there, he said, "Oh, and Bedros Killian's going to be there." And I'm like, "Bedros?" I'm like, "You mean Man Up, Bedros?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he showed me the flyer. And I was like, man, I've been following this guy for a decade at least, on social media, YouTube. I've seen tons of his content. I'm a big fan of his. I've read his book, and just, I've been talking about him. Every now and then I'll reference his name. So I was like, if this guy's going to be in New Jersey, and New Jersey is 2.5-hour drive for me, maybe 3 if it's a bad day, right? I'm like, there is no way. And for what he was selling the ticket, I'm not going to talk about the price, but for what he was selling that ticket, it was like pennies on the dollar. And I said, if I am not in that room, shame on me.
Right.
Shame on me if I'm not in that room for that low cost, without going on a plane. I didn't even have to get a hotel technically. I could have drove back the same day if I wanted to. And I was like, and it's a one day event. It's a one-day event for like 4 hours. Like, it was not even that long. It was like from 5 to 9, right? So for me to not show up to that room would have been like a mortal sin in business, right? So I said, I'm going to show up and I'm just going to be there, because and get this, folks, if you get nothing from today, get this. The fastest way to build a better tomorrow, which is what we're talking about today, the fastest way to do that is to get around people that are already living theirs.
That's right.
Okay, I'll say that one more time. The fastest way to get from point A to point B, which is living your better tomorrow, which is what we're all trying to build right now, right, is to get around those who are already living theirs. So my question to you is, how bad do you want to accelerate your future? How bad do you want yourself to win? What does that mean to you? And to me, it means everything. I'm in go mode, folks. I'm in capital Go exclamation mark mode. I'm in go mode. Go mode, as in go, lit on fire, right? And I'm telling you, when you light yourself on fire, people are going to come see you burn. So I am on fire, and there is no way I'm going to let that go. And I showed up, and I made a way to make it happen. Was it convenient? No. Did my wife want me here? Yes, for different things. And I can tell you thing after thing after thing that easily could have been my excuse to say I'm not going to go. But I showed up anyway. And even last minute, my wife will attest to it. And if I brought her on live, she'd tell you right now. I literally said, I really shouldn't go to this thing today. You know what? Like, I really want to go. The good news is it wasn't a lot of money. So worst case scenario, I just lose a few $100, whatever. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to go. And she's like, if you really don't want to go, and because it's, of all the moving, and I'm not going to go into all the details of why I felt that way, but I just probably shouldn't go. And she's like, well, if you really feel that way, then don't. But I mean, based on what you say all the time, winners find a way to win. If I were you, I'd just go. And then I said, touche. I said, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And that's it, right? That's it. Now, anyway, I said enough, but we want to see you in New York City, folks.
Absolutely.
See that when you have somebody in your corner who supports you, even when you don't realize you need the support, the push, the shove, if you will, to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw back at you what you always say. Winners find a way to win, right? So, and you talked earlier about spinning plates, right? As anybody knows, I like Lancelot and like Jose, I'm always constantly doing, evolving, and moving, right? And yesterday, I I do an article for a magazine every month, and they, they were on me. Hey, where's that article? Where's the article? And then yesterday, because I've been doing so much, they actually said, "You're the last author we're waiting for." I'm like, "Oh man." I said, "Listen, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to drop any of the plates I'm spinning." And so, but I got it out last night, right? Actually, yesterday afternoon. And I said, if there's any changes you need to do, let me know. And then they replied back and they said, no, it looks great. Thank you so much. And don't worry about it, because they understand that I'm not just sitting around waiting to write an article. So a lot of times when we're doing things, it's because we're basically, you ever see like somebody running and they're signing something and they're doing this and do that and do this. So basically that's what an entrepreneur is constantly doing. That they and Jose said he's on fire. I'm putting out fire sometimes. Sometimes I am on fire, but it's about continually moving, because I don't like, and Lancelot said it beautifully, I don't want to be like I was yesterday, right? I want to shine tomorrow. So whatever actions I take today, they have to reflect a better tomorrow. Otherwise, why am I doing it? Why don't I just sit on the couch, right? And so a lot of times when we just sit on the couch and do nothing, when we sit on the couch when we could have been at an event, uh, the event is going to propel us so much more. And like Jose said, don't go to every event. You guys still got to make the money. But here's the question: could you go to an event instead of sitting on the couch? Could you go to an event instead of watching Netflix? Could you? Yes. Should you go to an event instead of doing your own business? The answer is no, because your business is important to you. That's how you create your better tomorrows. But going to an event can propel your business, and it's a business decision, then do it. Come to our New York City Experience event, December 6th and 7th, because that's, you see, it's going across the screen, New York City Mastermind Experience. Our long-term plan is to create an unshakable nationwide movement, because we're not just doing it in New York, right? We're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to go to Tampa. We're going to go to Ireland. We're going to go to Dallas. We're going to go to different areas. So we are making movements that are going to be unshakable. And we're going to come to your neighborhood. So reach out if you want to host us.
I like that. A nationwide New York City mastermind. And we're not changing the name, by the way. We're bringing New York City to your town or your country, which is hot within itself, because New York City has its own mystique and its own feeling. So we're bringing that to wherever we're welcome.
Yeah, it's the experience, right? The vibe, the energy. Um, I still remember these words from Jose when he first bought his ticket to come to the New York City Experience, when it was just Lancelot and I. And he said, and this was magic to my ears. He said, Sifu, I'm not going to watch you guys from the sidelines. Of course, I'm going to be in the room. And I said, wow, that was powerful. I said, no, Jose cannot be on the sidelines. He has to be not only in the room, but he has to be part of the movement. So Jose,
Right.
man, I got to tell you, those words really
Meant a lot.
not only meant a lot, but they sparked a fire in us. And I think the three of us really bring something unique to the experience. So I'm so happy that the three of us are in partnership.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got to
And
say,
by the way, Jose, I love that jacket, by the way.
thank you. As a matter of fact, this jacket, believe it or not, is the same jacket I'm wearing on the cover of my book.
That's right. Nice. Nice.
And I
Oh,
actually,
wait a minute. It looks like what you're wearing, actually, kind of, Lancelot.
yeah, that's why I said that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
Look
very
right
nice.
here, baby.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you can shop at Neiman Marcus like me. But anyway, so in terms of like, you know, I'm not just going to watch you guys from the sidelines. Let me just piggyback off that. I've got to say that we have a choice in life. We can watch other people play in the professional games, or we can say, I'm going to work out, I'm going to train, I'm going to position myself to win, I'm going to be at my very best, and I'm going to get in the game too. So you can be planning to get into the game. You can be an amateur in a game of non-pros, or you can be on the sidelines bringing water to the professional players in a professional arena, or you can just be a fan in the stands eating hot dogs and drinking beer and soda and not really caring about your health in any level, and just watching other people and have fun for a couple hours and go back to the reality of life. Or you can be a player in the professional game with the actual uniform on, but you're on the bench just in case they need you. Or you can be in the game as a starter, a professional athlete, being in the game, right? So there's so many different ways of, and there's many other versions of this, right? There's like 100 different ways that you can participate on this analogy of sports, right? So I said, I want to play on the field at the professional level with the pros, as in YouTube. So I don't want to just be bringing you guys water and saying, hey, you guys go and do your thing and keep amazing, or just watch you guys in the stands, you know, for every single time and just, you know, whatever, or just watch you from afar on social media. Like you watch, like people watch their heroes online and social media, and you just like follow them as a fan. Like, I don't want to do that. I said, I want to be in the game, because that's what winners do, right? Winners find a way to elevate themselves consistently. I'm always looking for, how can I chisel myself? How can I go to the next level? So food for thought. My question to you, and this is a strong question, is how do you ensure, and if you have a pen and paper, I want you to write this down, because I think this question actually can, what's the right words I'm looking for? This question can, if properly internalized and meditated upon, and even journaled upon, could spark that next thing for you, right? How do you ensure your success today doesn't cost you your joy tomorrow?
Ooh.
How do you ensure your success today doesn't cost you your joy tomorrow? I just want you to think about that. How do you ensure your success today doesn't cost you your joy tomorrow? All right. So today's joy, today's success, let me clarify that. Today's success is today's success. But you know what I found in business and in life and success is that you're only as good as your last performance. And we have to show up again today to do more. And then we have to show up the next day. And we have to show up the next day. And the last thing you want is to not have the effective joy tomorrow. And as we talked about, or what we are talking about, not talked about, we are talking about today, is building better tomorrows, right? And who here wants a joyless tomorrow? Not me.
No,
joyless.
no.
You don't want joyless.
Joyless.
So my point in saying what I'm saying is that you right now are in a position, all of you that are watching this live or catching a replay, and us, even us three here, right? We have the understanding that the future of what we want, if that vision of the future, that like big vision, the grand vision, I have a grand vision of where I want to be, you know, in the next 5 years, like that will scare most people, right? In the next 10 years, even worse. The next 30 years, even worse, because my vision is so big and so grand, right? But remember, if your vision doesn't scare you even a little bit, it's not your future. It is your comfort zone. It is not your future. It is your comfort zone if your vision doesn't scare you a little bit. My vision sometimes scares me. And part of that this comfort zone, part of that like being uncomfortable requires us to get into the rooms where people are further along than us, right? And every room has somebody that's further along than you. Every room, I assure you. So you got to just put yourself in a position to meet these people and shake hands with these people. Because I can tell you right now, I was in a room at the 7-figure Blueprint Syndicate with Dan Sikowski, a guy named Sean, who was an amazing speaker from the Dominican Republic. And then this other gentleman, Bedros Killian, right? And these guys, as I was listening to them talk, and there was another one that I met like after the fact. I just had a great virtual coffee with him yesterday, as a matter of fact. His name is Luis Omar Figueroa, right? Little did I know this guy is a real estate tycoon in New York, crushing it. Like just like the other three guys, that he wasn't even on stage. You wouldn't even have known if you didn't actually see his presence. I saw his presence in the room, and you can just tell movers and shakers, because the movers and shakers walk with an air of confidence. They have this aura around them, magnetism, where people just want to go say hi to them. I wanted to say hi to him a couple of times. I never got the chance to shake his hand because he was constantly being bombarded by people talking to him, but he wasn't a speaker. His name wasn't even mentioned from the stage, but he was in the room. And we were just talking, and he said, Jose, that day for me was a 19-hour day. I started bright and early. I had all these things going on. I had to drive 3 hours. I did all these things, and I showed up, and I drove back home, and I just, and it was what it was, and it was a crazy day. And I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm doing blah, 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 blah. And yesterday when we wanted to meet on I sent him a link for Zoom. He's like, oh, let's not do Zoom. Let's do Moti. I think it was Moti, this app called Moti, M-O-T-I. And he's like, no, let's meet on that because I'm an investor in that app. So let's meet on that. But again, these are the kinds of people that you're going to run into at different events. Now, all these people, sometimes it's important to just be around people that are one step ahead of you, right? People that are one step ahead of you can add value to your life. But also know that sometimes it's always nice to meet people that are 20, 50, 100 steps ahead of you. Because that's what stretches your vision. That's what makes you think differently. That's what gets you uncomfortable. And it also allows you to show up differently, because I'm not going to have the same conversation with somebody that I just met that at my same level or below in terms of success level in business versus somebody who's 50 to 100 steps ahead of me. The conversation is different. How you engage is different, right? And what does that do? That refines you. You're constantly being refined, right? And that's what I strive to do, is I want to be around places, environments, people, experiences that are going to level me up and make me think bigger. Because again, life is directly linked to how you think. And if how you're thinking is too small, well, you're dead in the water right there.
It's incredible that what you just told us, right? What you just shared your insights on, and part of I think the growth that you have, Jose, is because of all the books around you, right? Because we never know what book is going to impact more knowledge to us, more ideas, more concepts. But wouldn't it be incredible if you can actually speak to the actual author, or the person doing the thing that you want to do, or the person that inspires you to do even something you never even imagined you would be doing? And when you talk about this gentleman that you had a conversation with yesterday about such a big impact in New York real estate, and you talked about earlier, not at this event, but the previous event, how you can see the CLA building, right? And you talked and you shared that with your son, and you said, you see that building is being built, that's going to be headquarters one day. And when the other day I shared with you an image that I put New York City Experience on a building, and we all said, yeah, we're going to make that happen. So it's going to be a combination of the towers, if you will, of the growth, but it doesn't happen unless we're starting to build now. The foundation needs a lot of layers. It needs to be deep in, and you cannot build the foundation without the effort, without the foresight of what's coming. The higher the building, the stronger the foundation. Go for it.
Because it's on the tip of my mind, and if I don't say it now, I'll lose it. But great points that you just made. Steve Varsano. If I forget his name, remind me. Steve Varsano. Okay, but speaking of what we're just talking about here in terms of the proximity and being around the people, you just said the buildings. I said in New York to many of you, I said, you see that building right there, the abandoned building right there? Most people see an abandoned building. I don't see an abandoned building. I see Connected Leaders Academy at the top of that building, Escobar Enterprises. I see me owning that building and what it looks like. I can literally see the finished product, because success begins and starts begins and ends in the mind's eye, right? So you have to be able to create something twice, first in the mind's eye and then in the physical world, right? So I said, that is going to be a building that I'm going to own. Not necessarily that location, but I want a building just like that, and it's going to look like that. And I already saw it. I saw that and I was observing it. And I told Noah, I said, Noah, do you see? And I gave Noah, my son, an example. I was like, that's called vision, right? And a man without vision shall perish. That's biblical, by the way, right? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna find a way to get a building, and that's gonna be my building, a physical, huge, massive, 100-story plus building. And how do you own a building one day? Let me give you the secret, folks. Let me lean in and whisper this one. You own a building one day by getting around people who own buildings. Oh my goodness gracious, look at that golden nugget. You own a building by getting around people who own buildings.
That's right.
That's the power of proximity. So guess what? This good gentleman that I had a conversation with, that something prompted me to reach out to him personally, and I reached out to him personally, and he responded to me personally. And his following is pretty massive. And the fact that he replied to me is very nice. It tells you the kind of person he is. Luis Omar Figueroa responded to me, and we met on his app that he is an investor in and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things he said as I was getting to know him, I own buildings in New York City. And I said, interesting. Does he know that I want to own a building one day? No. But
Not yet.
What we agreed to is that we're going to build a relationship and we're going to fly close. That's what we agreed to. And he thought of some ways to serve me, and I thought of some ways to serve him. And that's what you have to do, folks. You got to get around the people. If you want to be a millionaire, you got to hang around millionaires. If you want to be an 8-figure earner, you got to get around people that are 8-figure earners, because they talk differently. They think differently. They show up differently. They have different habits. They have different, all the things, right? If you want to be a billionaire, you got to find a way to get into the billionaire rooms. If you want to own a building, you got to get around people who own buildings. And that's just a reality. And that's what it comes to. So back to Steve Arsano. I'll turn it over to one of you guys. Steve Arsano, this guy owns private jets, right? He owns a private jet company called the Jet Business, I think, something like that. Don't quote me. But the guy lives in London, England, right? And this guy, guess where he graduated from? He graduated from Embry-Riddle, which is the #1 aerospace aeronautical school in the country. The best place you can go to. They call it the Harvard of the skies, because it's basically like the Harvard of aviation, right? So my son goes there. He's a freshman there, and my son got hired as their social media manager there at the school, which is pretty amazing. He's like really stepping full in. As a matter of fact, he's flying to California today. He just flew to LAX and was able to do a tour there in a private jet. He literally flew in a private jet there. And then he was in Vegas like 2 weeks before that, all on the school, right? And he's learning a lot. He's meeting he's networking, he's building relationships, the power of relationships, right? But not just any relationships, in the space that he loves, right? So like, I'm building relationships in a space that I love. I'm not just building any relationships, I'm building relationships in entrepreneurship and speakers and coaches and authors, right? And real estate. So he happened to go to an event, one of the biggest conventions for aviation in Las Vegas, on the school. And guess who he met there? Steve Arsano. Steve is the first person and only person that owns a storefront private jet company in London. It's like you walk into a Macy's, but it's a bunch of private jets, right? It's the only guy who owns this. And this guy's a 9-figure earner probably at this point, but the guy is absolutely crushing it. And he is the who's who in the aviation world. His name is Steve Arsano. So guess who was interviewing this guy yesterday? My son Noah happened to be interviewing him, and built a relationship. He had a conversation with him, and he said, "Hey, would you be open to doing an interview with me and for the school?" And not to go into it, but this is
that was after I was selling jets. I actually met him because I sold him 3 jets, and we became friends, and I went to go work for him.
So that's like a snippet, right? But that's Noah interviewing the guy. But that's proximity is power, is what we talk about, right? So Noah's now connected to a private jet guy. Guess what one of my goals and visions is in life is to own a private jet. And it just so happened I am now 1 degree of separation away from a connection in that industry, which happens to be Noah, my son. Guess who this guy on that podcast with my son You know who he said? He said one of his best friends is Tony Robbins.
Mm.
Me and Tony Robbins are super close. This guy is like, well, I'm not going to quote him, but he said they're super close, right? Tony Robbins is someone I've always wanted to meet. Can I tell you the 6 degrees of separation just got condensed like this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you know, and that's the power of getting into the room. So if you want to be around the people, the sharks of the world that are shifting the world and putting their dent in the world, you just got to get into the right rooms. And one relationship leads to the next, and leads to the next, and leads to the next, and then all of a sudden you are in the place that stretches you. And next thing you know, your visions are becoming a reality. But you got to get uncomfortable, and you got to position yourself to win.
I got to say, proximity is everything. Some people don't realize that they need to get into the room no matter what. So we already have all our slots filled for speakers for the New York City Experience on December 6th and 7th. And I've had a few people who say, if I can't be a speaker, I'm not coming. And I said, well, have a great day. Because you don't understand the power of being in the room with other speakers, even if you're not one. The gentleman that you mentioned earlier in real estate, when he was in the room we were in, he wasn't a speaker. Nobody even mentioned his name. But why was he there? He didn't need to be there. He was there because the connections that he will make will expand on his business no matter how big your business is. So think about that. I've had to be honest with you, about 8 people say, well, if I'm not going to be a speaker, I don't want to be there. How do I convince them that they need to be in the room? To be honest with you, it's not my job to convince them. They've already talked themselves out of an opportunity to make themselves bigger and to be on more stages. Because if you don't show up, people are not going to know about you. If you don't show up, people are not going to understand your brilliance. I was at an event and somebody said to me, they were talking to me and they were talking to me, and then other people, I was at a table and everybody said, oh, I can't wait till you speak. I said, oh, I'm not speaking at this event. They're like, you're not speaking at this event. Why not? Man, you got to be up there. And I said, no, I'm here to support. They're like, oh, wow. What do you think those people thought of me? Do you think they wanted to connect with me? They understand that I'm there to support somebody, even though they believed I should have been on the stage? Because that night was not about me. It was about supporting others. It was about being in the room and making the connections with the people at the table who I am still connected with today. So think about that. Get in the room, even if you can't be on the spotlight or the spotlight's not on you, because there is a spotlight on you. The way you show up, the way you carry yourself. You put the spotlight on yourself. Don't wait for someone else to put the spotlight on you. Do it yourself. And you know, when you show up right, you're building your better tomorrows. Did I build my better tomorrows that day when I was not a speaker and people expected me to get on stage? Yeah, I built better connections. And sometimes it's not necessarily from the stage. Don't get me wrong. The stage doesn't hurt, but the stage is not everything. It's how you communicate. And communication to me is key. So get in the room, have conversations that last. Don't just, it's not one and done, my friends. It's not one and done. You got to constantly keep nurturing your connections. A lot of people say, hey, you know what? I really want to connect with you. And they give you a business card. And then guess what? Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So I don't go for business cards. I go for real, authentic connections. So many people say, back in the day when I was young, right? I used to buy business cards left and right. I used to have thousands of business cards. And how many calls did I get from those business cards that I gave out? Not many. But when I changed my frame of mind and I made this thing my
Oh,
money maker. By the way, that's me walking with God. I don't know if you see that picture, right?
yes.
And when I use that, my businesses grew, my connections grew, because it was making authentic connections, because it was taking a selfie and then understanding the value of an image and then sharing it with somebody and say, hey, remember this event we were at? I was so happy to connect with you. Can we have a virtual coffee, or can we just chat, or do you want to get together in person? So remember the connections you make them powerful. Otherwise, don't even waste your time.
I gotta piggyback off this, Sifu. You made so many valuable points there that if we digest what you just said, that's like a masterclass. Just like digesting certain bullet points that you said, right? We can speak on for half an hour on at least 6 bullet points you just made. But one of the biggest things that stood out to me that you said that I agree with is, first of all, did I speak at the event that we were just at?
No.
No.
No. Okay.
Neither did Lancelot. Neither did I.
None of us were speakers at the event we just went to, at the 7-figure blueprint syndicate. I always have a hard time saying that at one breath, but none of us were speakers there. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even asked to speak. I couldn't even decline to speak because I wasn't asked. And I didn't ask to speak. I didn't say, hey, Dan, hey, Big D, you and I are building relationships. We're cool now, man. You're a part of the CLA now. Get me on your stage, man. I didn't even try to finagle it, right? Because what I understand as a professional, and what I understand as a business player, a real entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur, what I understand is that not every stage needs to be spoken on, right? There's a lot of rooms that you show up to that that's gonna lead to the next podcast. That's gonna, a nice strong podcast is gonna be worth your while. That's gonna lead to another stage that you're gonna speak at, not necessarily that stage. That's gonna lead to a long-term relationship of a lifelong friend you would have never met had you not stepped in that room and built that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to lead to unforgettable memories of the meeting after the meeting with people you already know because you're building deep relationships, right? It's going to lead to the buyer's remorse of you walking into a room of somebody who just did business with you and might be in the back of their mind second guessing jumping into your world, and you're like, hey, let me remind you how much I care about you and how much we're going to do together, and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, every second conversation, right? It might be somebody who's going to say, hey, tell me more about what you do. I'd love to. Let's hop on a virtual coffee. Let's talk later, right? It's the place to transact. It's the place to get to know each other and to build a relationship, not necessarily go into a sales pitch, right? So new business will fall into your lap, right? It might be a referral partner. It might be a collaborator. Somebody's going to say, hey, let's do something together. Based on what you do and what I do, we should collaborate on something, right? And the list goes on and on and on. It might be a golden nugget of something that I heard from this, or some little piece that can increase my business by 15%, right? I don't know what it is, but I've been in business long enough now, and I've seen enough things, and I've read enough books and been coached by many people to know now that you never know what you're going to get from one given event. But what you do know is that if you have the ability to get into the room, you need to be in the room by any means necessary. And if that means you're not going to speak, even if you're a speaker, then so be it, right? And I'm not afraid to do that. I have done that countless times. So when it came to this event, I already had an idea of who's going to be in the room. I knew the content of what was going to be spoken on. I knew it was in driving distance, reasonably, 3 hours, right? And I said, there's no reason why I shouldn't be in that room. So remember, the people who win tomorrow, because we're talking about the better tomorrows, right? The people who win tomorrow are the ones who out-execute today. And part of out-executing is working harder than most people. And that means sometimes you got to drive the 3 hours. Sometimes you got to hop on the train. Sometimes you got to invest a little bit more money than the person to your left and to your right. And it requires more time, energy, more effort. But that's what it comes down to, folks. So never let something as small as, well, if I'm not speaking, then I don't know if I want to be there. Don't let something like that stop you, because that's called small vision. I'm a big vision, long-term guy. And let me tell you something. In everything you do, think long-term, because one day long-term will be here. In everything you do, think long-term, because one day long-term will be here. and that's what it comes down to. So I can't even quantify to you right now all of the value I got from that room that I did not speak at. There are so many things that are coming from that one room, a lot that is coming from that one room, that in 6 months from now I'm going to revisit it and do a live. And I'm going to talk about it. Went from that one event that I didn't even speak at, and that's the power of the rooms. So guys, if you're not speaking but you're a speaker, awesome. There will be a stage for you with us at some point, but for now, show up anyway.
Yeah, all of us are speakers, right? And none of us spoke. Do you guys remember at this incredible event, the pregnant woman? There was a pregnant woman. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Dina, right? Dina and I are going to be working together because she found out what we're doing with the New York City Experience, and she wants to do something like that for families. So she and I are going to be working together. I'm going to be helping her establish a family type of networking event. And so she was there, and she's like, "Hey, you know what? I wanna come to your New York City Experience." But unfortunately, it didn't work out with the schedule for her because she's going to be giving birth around that time. But she was so excited to be in the room. She didn't have an excuse. She's 8 months pregnant. You know, she's about to give birth. Yet she showed up. And she showed up and she made connections with people. She was there. She didn't have an excuse. Oh, you know, I'm pregnant. I can't be at this room. I can't be there. No, she was there and she made connections. She and I connected. She's like, send me the information for New York City Experience. And then when I told her the dates, she's like, oh, I'm probably giving birth around then. I'm like, yeah, you take care of that baby. And then she even
just kidding.
she already told me, you know, the baby's name and so forth. It's Tom. But here's the crazy thing is that she's like, I'm not gonna be able to make that one, but let me know when the other ones are, because she is not making excuses, right? She was pregnant. She showed up to this event. She was there the whole time. Right? She didn't make an excuse. She didn't just make a cameo appearance and say, look, the pregnant woman is here. No, she didn't even. And the funny thing is that she put the name on the belly. You know, everybody had a name tag, right? She put the name tag on her belly. And I said, is that your baby's name or is that yours? She goes, no, I'm having a boy. That's my name, right? And the funny thing is that when you can make an honest connection with somebody, it really expands on how do we connect? How do we move forward? And the more I talked to her, the more she wanted to know about me and what we're doing. And therefore, now we're going to be working together. So think about it. Would I ever have met her? Lancelot, I know Jose keeps talking about his long drive, but Lancelot also and I had a long drive. We drove together, right? And that day, I know Lancelot, he's usually up between 3:30 and 4. I was up at 3:39 that day. I didn't get back home till 1:30. I didn't get back in bed until about 2 a.m. So yeah, did I have almost a 23-hour day? Yeah. But so what? So what? I was overjoyed. And my energy, I didn't go home and just plop in bed. No, I didn't. I was still energized. When I got home, I was like, oh, you know, I was super energized. I even checked some of the messages. I made sure that I put pictures with the phone numbers. So for me, it's about the connections. I want to share 2 videos with you guys. And by the way, Michael, thank you. Good stuff this morning. And
Michael.
Theo, by the way, I also want to say, Theo, yes, happy Veterans Day.
Absolutely. I wanted to see
250 years, you know, with the military.
That's
You
right.
know, celebrating the 250th birthday, right? Because as a veteran, Theo's a veteran. I'm not a veteran. And you have a movie coming out called The Veteran, Lancelot. So it really shines. But when we think about the impact that the military has done to our lives, the freedom we have in the US and so many other countries. There's always turmoil going on, but the freedom that we have, I'm super grateful for every veteran that has ever served currently, who is currently serving, or ever served prior, or even back 50 years ago when they served, right? World War One. I used to have conversations with a vet who was in World War One, and he was phenomenal. And I was 10 years old when I was having these conversations, and I still remember them. At 10 years old, I was having a sit down with a World One veteran, which was right now, it blows my mind because I got in the room with a veteran at 10 years old. So I was speaking to somebody who had so much knowledge, so much courage to fight for our freedom. So thank you to all the veterans, and I'm super grateful. But let me share these two videos with you guys. And I want Lancelot, on the first video, I want you to make comments, and then we're going to go to the second video, and then I want Jose to make a comment. Take a look, gentlemen. Here we go. Let me grab those videos first. So here's the first one. This is for you to make a comment afterwards, Lancelot.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
You're on, Lancelot.
Well, I tell you, one of the reasons why I've been quiet and I've not allowed, but listened to both of you is because I'm new to this, so to speak, and I've been embraced by the two of you, and I've learned so much about connections. My wheelhouse is an artist, entrepreneur, but I'm learning so much more about the importance of connection, about the importance of showing up, the importance of being around people who think higher than you, and so that you can watch. And like Emilio always says, just being in the room with people that you're trying to be like steps up your productivity 15%. The reverse of that is being around people that are not productive, and your productivity goes down 30%, which means double. So it's been a real honor and pleasure to just sit down and listen to the both of you about the importance of connection, about the importance of setting yourself up for the future. As an artist, I'm looking not just to be an artist, but to also take what I've done to be able to affect people in a positive way. How do I do that? This is one of the things I'm figuring out. And I'm figuring out the way to do it is to connect with, first and foremost, people that are already doing what you're looking to do. So I've learned a lot listening, and this is why I stayed quiet this entire time, because I'm listening and I'm learning. I'm blessed to be around the two of you, and as a result, I have changed my mindset, so to speak. I was just in an event Thursday. I was with you. On Tuesday, I was all the way upstate with Mike Stevenson, and I took a train and a car to get there, but it was to connect and be with Mike and connect with the people that he was with. And I made some really great relationships through just saying I will and getting in that room. So it's a different mindset for me, but I'm doing it and I'm learning, and I'm really grateful to be around such powerful people like yourself, because I'm learning on a daily basis.
Mm. I'm gonna, before I put the other video, I got to tell you, I love that Jose built the Connected Leaders Academy, because it is exactly that. It is connected, and it's leaders, and it is an academy, and it has really helped me grow even as an individual, as an entrepreneur, and the so many connections I've made because of it. I've been very blessed to be able to bring some people I know to join the Connected Leaders Academy,
I'm one
to
of them.
have them understand, like yourself, right, Lancelot? So a lot of people don't realize that what Jose has built has really shaped a lot of people, has helped so many people, and not only endure in their business, but to grow with their business, to build better tomorrow. So Jose, thank you for creating Connected Leaders Academy. Before we wrap up, let me play the last video, and then Jose, you're going to have a comment.
And also his generosity
There you go.
in giving information and embracing people is beautiful. You know what I mean? And
It
this
is.
is why he's been able to build so many people in so many different states. So
Here we go. Here we go. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. Thoughts, Jose? He's having a deeper thought.
Okay. Testing. Okay. Sorry, there was a lag in my. I was still seeing the video. So yeah, I can tell you the Sifu's Mind-Body Method. I've been a part of it now for over 90 days, and I'm still involved. And why? Because it's a lifestyle. It's not so much the 90 days. It's beyond that. It's how are we going to change our health and wellness long term? Because my new commitment with my wife is we want to be centenarians, right? We want to live to 100 plus. And the only way that's going to happen is if we're taking care of our today, so that tomorrow is a better tomorrow, right? Which is what we're talking about. So you cannot give what you don't have. If I don't have the right energy to pour into the world, into the people that I serve, into my wife and my kids, I won't be able to do it. I won't last, right? There is no business. There is no amazing future if we don't have our health and wellness in place. So your program, been a part of it. My wife has been a part of it. We have grown by leaps and bounds, not only in our knowledge and knowledge base of like health and wellness across the board, but also in our results. I'm down, 16 pounds since I started, feeling healthier, being more mindful of the decisions I make in my nutrition, and say no to a lot of junk every now and then, and just making better choices, right? My wife, she's had a number of pounds as well, and she's in the best shape. She's actually in the best shape since before her firstborn, right?
Wow.
And she's just super ecstatic about it. And I see the people that you're bringing in that are getting results, and because your program is results based, right? It's not just a fad, it's not just a diet, it's a lifestyle that you're teaching people how to fish versus just saying, here's a fish for 90 days to lose some weight, and then you go back into your yo-yo kind of lifestyle, right? So I love what you're about. I love your program. Anybody who's out there that wants to get into the best shape of their lives in 2026, I would encourage you to connect with Sifu and see what it's about, because I wouldn't vouch for it if I didn't believe in it, and I do 100%.
I appreciate that, Jose. Thank you. So let's consider, before we wrap it up today, because I know we went a little bit over, and I know Lancelot's got a client he's got to run to. build your better tomorrows. We at New York City Experience or New York City Mastermind Experience want to help you do that by connecting you to the right people. Who are the right people? Come find out. Because you don't know who the right people are until you start to open up. You have to open yourself up for opportunities. If you don't open yourself up, you're not going to have any. So be open. When you meet somebody new, find out about them. And then we all know that if you're interesting enough, they're going to want to know about you. Right?
So, and I just want to say before we go, big shout out to all the veterans in the CLA and the Born to Risk and all the people that I've been able to been touched by in this last year. I wish you a happy Veterans Day. I thank you so much for your service. I thank you for who you are. And I've been blessed enough to be doing a film called The Veteran, which the actual trailer is coming out on Veterans Day. It'll be on Channel 5, Fox 5 this morning. And just thank you. And, you know, God blesses you in certain ways. And the last year, just being around Emilio and T.O. and just, you know, the host of the other people that are a part of the CLA and Born to Risk, man. I wish you all a happy Veterans Day. And thank you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you, Lancelot. And my final words very quickly. I'm reading this amazing book right now. This is the latest read. I'm always talking about what I'm reading. So this book I just started reading today. It's called Wisdom Takes Work by Ryan Holiday. It's part of his 4-book series. And Learn, Apply, Repeat. This is actually a signed edition from him, which is pretty cool. So I'm reading that. But that leads me to my final thought. And my final thought is anybody who's out there on the fence who's like saying, should I go to New York City Mastermind? I have these hurdles in front of me. Can I make it happen? Right. And Jose always says, well, way to win. So, I believe that wholeheartedly. I wouldn't say it. Let me tell you this. I had a mentor of mine who once told me, my mentor said, and I've had many mentors, but this particular mentor said, Jose, you can't build a skyscraper mindset surrounded by cottage thinkers. Okay. I'll say it again. You can't build a skyscraper mindset surrounded by cottage thinkers.
Wow.
Okay. If it's something, keep in mind what you build isn't so much about that what you're building. It's about who you're building it with. Right. So make sure you surround yourself with big thinkers, visionaries. Yes. That's what we're creating these rooms, not just so we can have a fun time, even though we do have a fun time. Rooms to add value to you, to create the environment where iron sharpens iron, where we all win, right? So, but that requires you to do your part. And your part is simple, folks. Show up, get in the room, and the right room is the New York City Mastermind Experience, December 6th and 7th. Get your tickets, links in the comments. Thank you so much. God bless our military. Happy Veterans Day. Shout out to all of you.
I just want to say, man, thank you guys. That just gave me goosebumps. I love you, and I really appreciate just being around you guys. And that's real. That's real.
Thank you, man. So much love, likewise.
Right. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Peace.
Jose Escobar, turn it up, let's go. Turn it up, let's go. Let's go. No time to wait. Bass too loud and the vibe too great. Let's go. Full on fire. Every move hit like a live wire. Let's go. Step and go. No fear here, just hard to go. Let's go. Lights on blast. We don't hold back. We move fast. Get the flow, we don't miss. Whole room lit like a first kiss. No cap, no stress, no chill.